Hello everybody, I'm here in Bermuda and in Hamilton, the business center of Bermuda, and right behind me here is the HSBC Bank of Bermuda building. Bank of Bermuda, for those of us who are from outside Bermuda, will know that it's more of a custodian bank, but in Bermuda it's one of the big four banks. It has a very illustrious history. It's not big, it's like 200 million in income generated a year, and that there is the old Bank of Bermuda building, and then after HSBC bought it over and made it its global custodian anchor. This is the location now for the global support of HSBC's wealth management as well as private banking and asset management support center. So this is the institution, and as you can see, Bermuda is a very beautiful country, and there are many impressions that we have about Bermuda. We think of it as a financial center, which if you talk to the locals, they'll tell you that that only became so in the last few years. Tourism used to be the biggest contributor to its income, and today financial services is a bigger contributor to the income. Now, the reason for me to be here in Bermuda is to try and get a sense of how centers like this will evolve over time. And I must say, I'm impressed with Bermuda. It's 2 hours from New York this direction, and there's 6 hours to London in the other direction. And in one sense, it's in the middle of nowhere. In another sense, it's in between the two huge Anglo-Saxon financial centers of the world. And until recently, many of us thought of it as a booking center for reinsurance as an industry. But I think what we will see evolving over time is that it's a custodian center, a trust center for global digital financial services. Right down this very, very pretty street is another bank on the other side. It's called the Butterfield Bank, and these two banks, Butterfield and Bank of Bermuda, have a reputation of being good, trustworthy financial support centers, custodian and so on. But I think that story is evolving as it goes along, and I must say that Bermuda is beautiful and sustainable in many different ways. Now, the real story of Bermuda is it's an island of about 70,000 people, and you will see that all of the houses on that side, and in fact even here, they have roofs that are white in color, and they actually designed, every roof in Bermuda is designed to capture water, and the simple reason is that it does not have lakes or rivers as sources of water. So the only major source of water is your own cistern. So every household is supposed to collect its own water for drinking and for using, and that in itself sets a culture which is reflected in the politics of the country, in the sociology of the country, in the way people live their life, that this has to be a sustainable island for its people. And I think that that's the one message of Bermuda that's not being carried outside of the country, and it's reflected in other things that they do, like car ownership, for example, is highly proscribed here, so they can keep their streets narrow and not allocate more streets for cars as in other countries. So the idea is not GDP growth, it's sustainability of an island economy. So as a financial center, Bermuda today is not just a booking center for the reinsurance business. Something I found was that a number on this street alone, for example, a number of service organizations like Ernst & Young has a huge service center here, manned a lot by professionals from countries like the Philippines, lots of Filipinos in Bermuda who have discovered that this is an amazing place to have a career as a nurse, as a professional, as accountants and so on. And with this support layer, a country like Bermuda can be a global support center for wealth management, for private banking, and for asset management, and all of these industries. And I can see that happening in Bermuda today. as the industry becomes increasingly digital, it does not matter anymore where you're located. So being in Bermuda, okay, which is in 2 hours to the US in this direction and 6 hours into the UK in that direction, is irrelevant. Although these are the two Anglo-Saxon financial centers which uses Bermuda and its regulatory regime as a leverage in order to do the things that they may not be able to do in their home countries. But I think that's becoming a thing of the past. Bermuda is building its own capability. It's a very livable economy, and at the same time, it is attracting professionals from around the world, and they work in buildings such as these, which are incredibly professional, and so on. And AXA has its center here, and AXA in Bermuda is not just a offshore booking center for insurance or reinsurance and so on. It's a real insurance business that has been able to become a lot deeper because of the skill sets and the support layer they're able to build in this economy. What I see happening in the next 3 to 5 years is that financial centers or booking centers or regulatory arbitrage centers like Bermuda will increase in their role to become service providers, offshore service providers to the digital economy and to digital financial services. What's also very important about Bermuda is that it's got a very respectable and highly regarded monetary authority, the monetary authority of the Bermuda Monetary Authority, and you can see the sign there that says they value going forward with the constituents whom they regulate. So it's a very progressive monetary authority. And further down the road on this side are service providers such as Appleby and law firms and so on. So and also further down the road is theatre house and so on. So this is a very livable city, a very down to earth place where people talk to each other and so on, and that also, in my view, contributes towards creating a very credible ecosystem which can be globally recognized. So when you see the name Bermuda online, whether it's investment center or a payments hub or something like that, you know that it's well regulated, it's a deep services, and it's forward-looking in the digital world. And I think that this place has an incredible reputation that it can build in the digital world. Because in the digital world, it really does not matter where you're located. It's more important that you have the ecosystem that can actually be built into something that's sustainable and credible in the virtual world. Regardless of where people are, they know that this place is well regulated with very deep services and a good regulator.